This week on the High Limit Room, Hank Davis, the newest high roller, joins the show. He tells us about his start in racing, linking up with Michael Dutcher Motorsports, and becoming a high roller in 2026 as a Rookie of the Year contender. All in this week's episode of the High Limit Room. Before we get to Hank Davis here on this week's episode, a couple of things to mention before that interview, including the Roto-Rooter Midweek series for High Limit Racing. The details for that series have been released later or earlier on this week, and one of the big things, a part of that release, is the fact that this year's Midweek series will have 15 races at 14 different racetracks in 11 different states. Now, the last couple of years, that Midweek series has been maybe somewhere between 9 to 11 or 9 to 12 races, but this year it is 15 races all across the country. And so basically, something that we have not seen over the last couple of years of the Midweek series is any race between Monday and Thursday that is a standalone event. That now becomes part of that Midweek series. And so it's a little bit of an expanded schedule. The last couple of years, the last 3 seasons from 2023 to 2025, the Midweek series has come down to the final lap of every single one of those last races. The championship in that has been super tight every single year. $25,000 will go to the Midweek Series champion in 2026, and 5 of those 15 races will be streamed live on Fox Sports 1, so including the finale at Kokomo Speedway. So looking forward to seeing how that will play out. The Roto-Rooter Midweek Series, the first race on the schedule will be at Vado Speedway Park in March. So make sure to pay attention to that throughout the year. Before we get to Hank as well, make sure to get your FloRacing subscription. There is a ton of racing coming up here this weekend, including NARC at Merced. So the NARC Sprint Cars, NARC After Dark, everybody's favorite sprint car series, After Dark, begins at Merced. And you could see the defending, or the 2024 High Limit champion, Brad Sweet. He'll be out there driving for Kevin Kozlowski with Paul Silva on the range. First time we will see Brad Sweet in the W Sprint Car. He will be running with NARC at Merced. Also, the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, they are in action this upcoming weekend at Ocala in Florida and Golden Isles Speedway in Georgia. USAC CRA, they are getting underway as well at Mojave Valley Speedway. So make sure to get your FloRacing subscription today so you do not miss out on all that action. Also, you can't forget High Limit Racing getting underway here in about 2 weeks' time. Make sure you're subscribed to Flo. All right, this week on the High Limit Room, we are joined by the newest high roller and now going to be a Rookie of the Year contender as well. Hank Davis joins the show. Hank. Hank, thanks for jumping on the show here this week. It's pretty... Tony, I had a little mistake there. Do we want to restart, or we're just going to keep on going? We don't do restarts here on the High Limit Room. We just
Man, I thought you had a stroke going right there.
I did have a little bit of a stroke there, but Hank, thanks for jumping on
my episode. It's perfect for my episode. Thanks for having me.
Exactly. There we go. Perfect. Well, Hank, it's crazy that you're a high limit guy now. You're a high roller. You're a full-time 410 national touring driver. It feels like not that long ago, the first time I met you, Dixon Speedway. I don't know if you remember that, for a micro race, and I was announcing that first time I met you. And now here you are, man. You're ASCS Rookie of the Year. You won couple races with those guys, a Chili Bowl prelim night winner, a Chili Bowl podium finisher, and now you are here at this point. How crazy is it to be in the situation you are now?
Yeah, funny story about Dixon. The best part about that was when I first met you, my wife had to sign my my minor's release because I wasn't old enough, but she was old enough to be my adult. Yeah. So yeah,
you had a mullet back then too, I think.
It was shaggy hair. That stuff kept getting in my ear, so I had to get rid of that. But no, it's kind of crazy, like you say. It doesn't seem like it was very long ago that, we were not, I was just racing kind of for fun. But it's also been like 14 years to kind of get here. So it seems like a long time, but it doesn't seem like a long time ago that I was just, not really known. No one even knew who the heck Hank Davis was. So.
Hank, it's exciting to have another rookie enter the Race for Dean Rookie of the Year fight at High Limit Racing. I can't wait to see you get on track. How does the relationship between you and Michael Dutcher come to form? And just kind of, how did you guys get linked up? What goes into that?
Yeah, after the year I ran the ASCS tour with Wayne Johnson and the 2C guys at the end of the year, they were going with Cole at the end of the year, so I kind of just needed a ride, and they needed someone to go to Charlotte for World Finals and kind of test out an engine, and so I went and tested out an engine. Obviously, it didn't go as anyone planned or anything like that. We kind of sucked, really. But and then they, went into the off season, and they had Landon get in the car at the beginning of that year, and then Tim finished the year off. And at the end of this year, I was kind of trying to look at running more races and some big, try to run as much high profile races as I possibly could. And this opportunity kind of arose, and they have a lot of equipment now, and a lot of good equipment now. And so it was definitely a hard no to say to. And so we didn't even really plan to do any of this stuff either. It just kind of came about and made sense. So here we are.
Yeah, what was, speaking of it all coming together kind of out of nowhere, what was that like? Did Dutcher call you? Did he text you? Like, hey, we're doing High Limit. Like, what was that like? How'd that go?
Pretty much just like that. He pretty much was just like, hey, here's the deal. I've been kind of talking to these guys, blah, blah, blah. And this is kind of what we're probably going to do. And it was fine with me. I obviously, the elephant in the room, everyone knows that when you run with the High Limit guys, you can still, go kind of run some other shows here and there. And obviously I don't have a lot of experience running lean cars, or at least 410 really at all. So it'd be nice to be able to just, when we're not running, be able to have that off the time to where you can go off, and I can maybe go run a Power Ice show or something like that, and try to build some confidence or something like that, because at the end of the day, you're not just going to go walk the dogs on these guys.
Freedom for racers and teams to go get experience and more money. That is one of the cool parts about competing with High Limit Racing. Hank, I don't have a cool origin story about the first time I met you like Chase Rodman does, but you're probably the one that tells people what it was like the first time you met Chase. Everyone has a story like that. My kind of first interaction with you was, I bet you have no memory of this at all, but I couldn't go to the 2023 Chili Bowl because I had my hip replaced, because I'm like 85 years old, and friends of mine brought a cardboard cutout of me to the Chili Bowl, and you signed it. And it was the morning after you had just won your prelim night. And I don't really have a question. I just want to let you know that I've got that signature on my face cut out, and it hangs above my bed every night. So thank you for doing that.
I don't know if I should be creeped out or if I should say you're welcome, but I guess you're welcome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you're going to have to bring that up a couple times throughout the year, whether it's at the dash or heat race interviews or something. That there's got to be a couple jokes in there. But Hank, I feel like last year, maybe the year before that, I would every 3 months I'd get a Snapchat message from you like, hey, you know of anybody looking for a driver? Hey, anybody looking for a driver? And finally you did get a couple of rides. You got the Shannon Wheatley deal. You ran the Hybreeder car a couple of times, and of course the Beaver car as well, which you were pretty successful in there last year. I mean, you mentioned it. You don't have that much 410 experience, but last year you got 3 wins, including sweeping the Short Track Nationals. I think it's 37 410 starts, and you've already got 3 wins. I feel like you've taken to it pretty quickly.
Yeah, no. When I text you, it's just I just trying to find the rides, right? You don't. I struggle to. I don't. Everyone says it. You don't have the money, whatever. But I just don't. I can't necessarily go buy it. So I just got to try to find anyone that's gonna let me run their stuff. So yeah, just whatever. And then when we got with Billy and all those guys, it took us a minute to get going. But then after we run Knoxville, we got going and had success. I never had any ill will or nothing like that leaving those guys. I simply felt like I needed to race more, and I wanted to race more. Whether that's the right move or not, I don't know. But I just felt like I needed to do what was right for my career. And I felt like just going and running on a national type level or tour or close to that was probably what was going to help me maybe go to the next level, or just, try to open a couple of the right eyes that need to be opened.
Hank, I know over the winter you were here in Indianapolis at the PRI trade show, and I saw an interview where you sat down with Steve Post from MRN, and I think they were shooting something over there at the Racing Electronics booth. And if I remember right, you talked about getting your start racing out at Port City. Awesome track out there. Always fun to get to go out there, and I've gotten to call a few midget races out there. That place is just so cool. But in that interview, you talked about you started racing as a kid, you ran a couple of years, and then I think you just said we just didn't race for a couple of years, and then you got back into it. I don't know if it's a sensitive topic at all, but what was the cause for the layoff there, and what were you doing when you weren't racing?
I'm sure everyone knows it, everyone goes through at the point, but I just kind of got burnt out, right? You just go and go and go, and nothing kind of gains traction, and you just kind of get, I don't know, I guess in a sense bored, right? You just get tired of doing it, and and, spending all the time and doing it and stuff like that. So I don't know. I wouldn't say I necessarily took a break. I still raced at least probably 10 times a year. But I ran probably there in those 2 years, a couple years there back to back, probably only like 20 times in those 2 years. We had a family car, it was really all we could afford. So we just kind of did with what we did. And won my prelim night in one of those 2 years. I don't remember which one it was. And then I kind of just revamped it and kind of helped me get going again.
Hank, I've read a lot of comments online over the last year or two about the 17 GP car with Michael Dutcher. Of course, he's more well known for his endeavors in the non-wing world and had a lot of really good drivers in his cars. But when it comes to the wing side of things, you need a different package, right? You need different motors, you need different cars, you need different components and things like that. And I feel like he has been building this whole thing up here over the last couple of years with a couple different drivers. But he told me here not too long ago that, and you're sitting in it right now, not brand new, but a brand new trailer to you guys, the old Colby Thornhill hauler. That thing is incredibly nice. Dutcher told me that he got a bunch of engines from Jason Myers and all this stuff. How confident are you guys, and how confident are you that you guys are going to have, the best of the best stuff to go out here and compete with these guys?
Yeah, you're obviously always going to have the people that, got to say something, bad to make them sleep at night. That's just naturally what the world is. You're always going to have people that don't believe in you or think you suck or think such and such. But, you just got to go and do what you could do. And obviously they've gotten the program, they've bought resources that need to be bought. They've gotten the stuff that needs to be gotten to get up and down the road, efficiently, and all that stuff. So, and to be truthful with you, everyone told me not to go to the 12X when I went there. So, everyone that wants to just say bad things, that's just their opinion. And then we'll go out here and we'll just try to prove them wrong.
Well, Hank, not that you need a lot of motivational speaking from me, but I find it's usually the people who have the least important stuff to say tend to be the loudest. And I agree with what you and Chase both said. You see that Dutcher car show up in the pits at a lot of races, and I take that as a sign of Michael Dutcher wanting to grow his program and being aggressive and hitting the road and going out to these tracks with different series, right? A couple national tour races, a couple regional deals, a couple local shows. You see that 17 GP at a lot of places. But I got to know, you got Dutcher who's putting the money. You guys got some great partners on that car. But what have you been going through? What are you thinking? What's your headspace like knowing you're about to compete on a national 410 wing tour for the first time ever against some really, really good race cars?
Yeah, I'm honestly probably the wrong guy to ask that question for, because I'm horrible about not necessarily, I'm thinking about the future, right? Like, I don't know. Because I haven't experienced it. So I don't even know. I don't really have a thought. I don't know what to think because there's no experience. So until I get going, and I obviously, yes, it's going to be tough. Everyone knows that. It's not going to just be easy. But what comes with that, I have no idea. So I don't even really know what to expect. I'm just going to go into it, go to the racetrack, hop in the race car, drive. And at the end of the night, if we did good, we did good. And if we didn't do good, well, we got to get better. And that's just kind of it. I don't want to try to look too far forward because I suck at it. You know what I mean? I just try to stay with what's going on in the moment and just enjoy it. So, we'll enjoy it, and then whatever happens, happens.
Well, Hank, one thing I'm most excited about for the people watching it on Flow all year with High Limit is just them getting to know you, right? Because I think you are a good personality, and you've already shown it here in the 10 minutes of this interview that, you seem like a great guy, right? And I think people are going to learn that about you this year. But the people that do know about you, of course, is probably because of the Chili Bowl, right? A few years ago, you win that prelim night driving the Seymour 29, and that car, I just feel like is slept on every single year. Shout out to Anthony Nocella, pool legend that drove that car. He was always the pick every single year. Obviously, he doesn't race anymore, but now you're in that car, and it is very fast. A podium this year, but everybody knows you from the Chili Bowl. Are you excited to try and, expand that and get the people in the wing sprint car world to know your name?
Yeah, no, and the Chili Bowl obviously is something that's super special. So if I did get a name from the Chili Bowl, I would never be mad. And we went and we did a really good job with Wayne and the 2C with ASC and stuff, but I think that was somewhat overlooked a little bit. I don't know if it was because it was ASCS and it wasn't quite maybe as big as what maybe it is now streaming wise or whatever. I think it's, starting to kind of come around or whatever you want to say to more people realize it and see it. But we ran 36 races and had 28 top fives or something like that. So we did is really, really good. But it just wasn't quite seen. So that's what I kind of got to do here, right? Is you kind of got to try to, relay that to the 410 side and try to make it seen here, because everyone would be watching no matter what.
It's funny, Chase, that you bring up the Chili Bowl because, Hank, I think it was Darren Nida who made the comment after his crazy, soup run. Him and Mac Leopard just put on a hell of a show this past Chili Bowl Nationals. I think it was Darren that got out of the car and said, did I do enough to get a national 410 ride? Or he made some comment along those lines of, well, that was great. I'm glad to have run through the soup, but what else do I need to do to get a 410 wing sprint car ride? It might not even have been national, but is that kind of the attitude that you've had maybe a little bit in the past? Again, coming from micros, growing up in Oklahoma, racing those, a bit of a Chili Bowl legend, as Chase just alluded to. Has the goal just always been a 410 wing ride?
Yeah, I mean, and kind of like Chase was saying, like my personality, I don't know how to say it. I'm not like an asshole or nothing, but like at the end of the day, I'm probably not going to make it in NASCAR. I don't know. I'm just not that type of personality or style. So yeah, a sprint car was probably the way I'm going to go. And so, yeah, but with my family, we've always said this: racing's like one of the hardest things to get to, right? Like college sports, NFL sports. Yes, they're hard, but that roster's pretty big. You know what I mean? Like you want to be an athlete in college, that roster's pretty big. Like if there's 1,000 sprint car drivers that can do it, 10 of them get picked. It's just not that easy. And then when you get someone that like Brad Sweet that takes up a ride for that long, it's kind of, you're not just going to kick him out. So you got to wait till he's gone. So then when he's gone, I might be too old, So it's when everyone says timing's everything. I got fired out of my 360 ride, and then Wayne and the Bergman split up right like a day after that, and I called him. So timing's absolutely everything. If I don't get fired and then he doesn't do that, then I'm not even sitting here.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot when it comes to sprint car drivers. Is timing is about everything when it comes to this stuff. But Hank, we mentioned it at the top of this show. You are going to be a Rookie of the Year contender with Tanner Holmes this season. What are the goals, your personal goals for this year? Is it to be the Rookie of the Year, or is it that plus a top 10 in points, or is there a couple things you're looking at, or are you just going out there and just looking to have some fun?
Getting back to kind of what I was saying earlier is every time I look too far forward, I just psych myself out. A Chili Bowl, that's why I run Tuesday. I'm not the first night, but I'm not waiting any longer, so I can't think too long. So I'm just going to go out, and my goal is just to make every feature. If I can make every feature, well, then anything can happen in 25, 30 laps. So if I could just try to make every feature, be in every feature and have a shot at it, then the points will play out, and however they end up is how they end up.
Hank, it's my job. I think it's one of my jobs with High Limit Racing to show the people in the stands, the people watching on FloRacing, who you guys, who the drivers, who the crews, who the families back in the pits are. Help me out with that. Get us started a little bit here. Take racing out of it completely. And I know every race car driver in the world answers the same way. Oh man, it's nothing but racing. Well, I get that, but you got to be into something else. Are there any stick and ball sports you're a big fan of? What do you do when you're not racing? How do you enjoy spending your time?
Yeah, I'm probably a little bit different 22-year-old on the tour that's got a kid and a wife. So, I just enjoy my time with my family. I'm sure I'm like 99% of every race car driver. I enjoy going to play blackjack. I'm sure every one of us will say that on here. But yeah, no, I mean, I enjoy a lot of things outside of races, just anything really, just being with my dad and his girlfriend and just all my family, my wife, my kids, just hanging out and really just going with the flow. Whatever anyone says, I'm pretty much always down for.
Yeah, blackjack is definitely fun. My question for you, my next question is, what is going to be, there's all these different things you got to now figure it out. You got to figure out when you're going on a tour like this. What is going to be your method of transportation around the country this year? Are you going to be riding around in that new hauler, or are you going to have a truck with a t-shirt trailer? What is exactly going to be your method of transportation throughout the year?
No, t-shirt trailer is not happening because that is the last thing a guy like me needs to worry about. So we're just gonna go with the flow. I might ride in the lounge down the road. I might, the guy got a motorhome that sits there, but may take it every once in a while with a family or something, and Just really kind of go with the flow. Whatever. I'm just a pretty easygoing guy. If I got to hop in here and ride, or if I got to catch a flight or drive or whatever, just however I got to make it to the next race, I'll be there.
Tony, does he get?
Yeah, Hank, a little bit more in that vein of.
You hear that, Tony?
Who, Hank?
Yeah.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Absolutely. Very, very laid back and just wants to go racing. And, Jake Allen was a fan favorite, and, the staff at High Limit certainly doesn't have favorites, but I miss Jacob Allen a ton. And so, yeah, it'll be cool to get a little bit of the similar vibes. Hank, again, just more in the sense of like getting to know a little bit more about you and, this time a little bit more focused on racing. Who would you say some of the drivers that you've looked up to, throughout your career are? And that can be in sprint car racing. That can be in other forms of racing. If you've been a fan of guys racing other kinds of cars, but who do you try to, I don't know, maybe model how you go about it, after anybody?
Yeah, my all-time hero is Sammy. Obviously most people aren't a fan, but I just have always liked him, and I guess almost you could say model it after him or someone like him that just kind of just is black and white, right? Just says it kind of how it is. Don't have to be rude, nothing like that. Just say it how it is and just kind of be yourself. I just I try not to change for any certain thing or any certain situation, person, nothing like that. I try to be myself from the time I meet you to the time anything, whatever, for here on out. I just, try to stick to the same person and try to, I guess some people may like it, some people may not. But every time I've gotten with someone, I seem to get along with them pretty well and enjoy our time. So, just keep being me.
Yeah, speaking of other drivers, one guy I just thought of that you kind of remind me a little bit of, just kind of the background and where you're kind of at in your career and whatnot, and where you guys came from is Dason Pursley. Of course, he's also an Oklahoma driver, and you guys have a similar background, racing the micros, then in the midgets, and now he's, in year 2 of his wing sprint car career. You're, I guess, kind of in, well, it's going to be like year 1.5, I guess you could say. But are you good friends with Dason Pursley? Is that somebody maybe you'll be able to talk with throughout the season and maybe get advice from or something like that?
Yeah, no, and we used to be good friends, pretty good friends at the racetrack. And no, I wouldn't say a bad falling out or no like running on the track. We just kind of went our separate ways and just kind of went opposite directions. Yeah, no, I have no problem with Pursley or something. So I'm sure I'll talk to him or someone like Tyler. I've kind of become friends with Tyler over the years or whatever like that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not the type to just go up and talk to just everyone. Certain people. I just try to stick to myself and be me. And so yeah, there'll be a couple people I lean on and stuff like that. But probably just kind of try to, just go take them how I get them and then learn on the racetrack.
It's funny here, Hank, as we're sitting here talking, I'm just throwing your name into Google and seeing if any crazy pictures or, police reports show up or anything. And thankfully nothing like that's happening. But there's an interesting article called "Who the Hell is Hank Davis" that Lee Spencer wrote for Racing Boys a couple of years ago. And in it talks a lot about what you and Chase were just talking about, your upbringing, going up against a guy as talented as Dason Pursley. But you mentioned in the article a lot the other drivers that you grew up racing against out at Port City: Cannon McIntosh, Kaylee Bryson, Taylor Reimer, Dason Pursley. Every region in the country is good, right? I surely wouldn't say it on here if there was, but there's not really a region that we go to where it's like, oh, those locals will be easy, right? California is good. Pennsylvania is great. And Oklahoma and that Texas region grow really good race car drivers. Do you think competing against drivers of that caliber that you did growing up is going to prepare you for this first season chasing a 410 national championship?
Yeah, undoubtedly. And I think it's all, like you say, region based, right? Like California, the outlaw karts are by far the best. You're not going to get any better, in my opinion, at least. And then micro scene, Oklahoma is probably one of the toughest you're going to get. Yes, they've produced some micro guys out of California, but for some reason we all come and show up at Port City for all the big shows and stuff like that. So there's something about Oklahoma being kind of the mecca. Tulsa shootouts there. Something about the place with micros that they just breed good race car drivers out of micros there. And So yeah, I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't help. Personally, he's succeeded at pretty much every level he's been at. So I guess really it's up to me if I want to succeed or not. So, just basically, go out there and put it on my shoulders and just kind of get after it.
You talked earlier about the ASCS tour that you did 2 years ago, and obviously it's a pretty decently sized schedule. There is quite a bit of traveling going on, but this year it's going to be more traveling than you've ever done before. If I did my math correctly, 21 new racetracks that you will be visiting this season. Which ones are you looking forward to getting to for the first time? Is Pennsylvania a place you're looking forward to getting with Port Royal, or maybe the California Bull Rings, or maybe, you've been to Skagit before actually, but what are some of the tracks that you're looking forward to getting to, or maybe one of the swings you're looking forward to the most?
Yeah, I'm least looking forward to Port Royal and stuff like that. But of course, I know you can't run from it. You can't hide, right? Like you've got to, if you're going to be good, you got to be good there. So, yeah, I honestly, again, I really haven't looked at the schedule too much. I try not to, I'm not very good at looking very far ahead or nothing like that. So, I'm just going to try to take it day by day. I know, like I say, there's 21 new tracks, but, everyone's done it before. Everyone's been through the whole beginning of the deal. So, you're just gonna have to take it as it comes and just try to learn as you go and try to make it easier as you go. I feel like you'll find out some stuff I'll find out some things as I go along of how to make things easier or how to be more efficient with something here, or just be better all around. Like it'll all come together and start making sense as we go. But it might take a minute.
Well, I've certainly learned from you, Hank, during this interview that you aren't a guy that tries to look into a crystal ball. You're not trying to jump into the future too far. And I actually really do enjoy that, because I think, it's good to have a plan and good to have a goal, but until you go out and do it, you haven't done it, right? So I really respect that, and I like that. So I guess I'll ask you the inverse of looking forward. When you look back on your career, as young as it is, at only 22 years old, what's that accomplishment? What's that moment? What's that thing you've done in a race car that, maybe it was the sweep this past summer? What's that thing that you look back on? Rookie of the Year honors already, your ASCS season. What stands out to you?
Yeah, just, honestly, I would say probably my Chili Bowl, probably all my expos, the success there probably stands out the most. Just because I've been going that race for a long time. Sammy's my all-time hero. He's the GOAT of the building. So like, your all-time hero is the GOAT of the building that's 15 minutes from your house. So that place means quite a bit. But no, I'm proud of my career. Like I feel like I've done it at a harder way than some. And I don't mean that like, oh, I'm gonna pat myself on the back, nothing like that. But just just had to try to scratch and claw my way here and probably gotten some stuff that I shouldn't have, or stuff like that, some rides that maybe I shouldn't have or whatever. But it's all led me to here, and I do appreciate all those people that I have gotten into the rides for, no matter what they were. It's why I'm here today, and it's much appreciated.
Well, race fans throughout the year will be hearing Tony and I say Sand Springs, Oklahoma quite a bit. Obviously, that is your hometown. You mentioned it's just not too far away from the Tulsa Expo Raceway. Can you give us some insight as to what Sand Springs, Oklahoma is like? It sounds like it's a pretty nice place, like with some beaches or something.
Far from. The beaches there suck, okay? They're lakes and they're not very good. So, it's just it's the total opposite of what you just said. It's pretty much a bunch of rednecks. I mean, realistically, like, yes, there's some good parts, like some city part, right? But there's a lot of, shit kicking rednecks, man. They just out there getting the cows all worked in and all this stuff. And, it's a big town. It is. It's a big school. It's a 6A school and all that. But, there's like a Sand Springs side, and then there's like a little, it's like a Prattville side is what we call it. It's like a little tiny town is what it really technically is. But that's the side that we live on. And we're a lot more, family oriented on that side, it seems like. So, pretty fun, really. Everyone knows everyone, and you just hang out and go to the local bars and see everyone
Hank, hopefully these past 2 years you've been able to catch some high limit racing broadcasts on FloRacing. And, we've got some cool fixtures involved in the series. I got to give credit where credit's due. Chase Rodman came up with one of my favorite parts of our series. I think the dash draw, it can be just such a boring, such a drawn out, pill draw, coin draw, whatever. But we've got the roulette wheel. It's really, really entertaining. Nobody knows where they're going to start the dash until the very last driver has spun. So I'm sure that you've spent a lot of time whiteboarding, chalkboarding up a strategy for how to spin the lowest number. What's the strategy going to be this year when it comes to the roulette redraw wheel?
Well, I don't know for sure, but I haven't heard the rules technically. But all it does is has to go one revolution, correct?
Yes.
It doesn't say that it can't be stopped. It just has to go one revolution.
Well, yeah.
I'm kidding. I would never do that. No, you kidding me? No, I'm just going to go up there and spin the thing if I even get to the wheel. I got to get to the wheel first. That's the thing. See, back to that. Not look too far forward. I got to get to the wheel first. So
I like that.
Yeah, no, I'm not too worried about the wheel yet.
Well, Hank, it's been great catching up with you, and we'll look forward to seeing you down in Las Vegas. I know you guys just raced this weekend out in Arizona, and you're going to be racing again at Central Arizona this upcoming weekend. So good luck out there, and we'll see you in Las Vegas. Thanks for doing the High Limit Room show here, and we look forward to seeing how the year goes for you.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.